Hey everybody, Lockpicking Rabbi here. I was asked to do some videos about challenge lock pin making. I don't think, necessarily I'm the guy to give this lesson. I think there are people who are far more advanced than me. So I highly recommend everyone go over to DMAC's channel, because DMAC is the man when it comes to pin making. Also, Lock Noob has some amazing things, but I learned basically what I'm doing, basically just copying DMAC videos, and DMAC is also, I've been in touch with him privately. The man is awesome, and he is just the most open, wonderful person who will, help you if you need. To make pins, very basic. You need some sort of stock to make the pins, so you can get, brass rod. Brass rod is great. Alternatively, what I often do is when I get low quality locks, I will salvage the locks and I will just take the pins to make new pins. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to make a torpedo pin. Torpedo pin as a key pin, just to give you an idea of how to do that. So we want to take, today I'm just going to do it out of a key pin, an old key pin. So you can see we just got an old key pin here, nothing special. It's a key pin when it has that little point at the end. That's how we know it's a key pin. So I'm just going to slide it into my bit for my Dremel over here. So I'm going to tighten it up first. As you'll note, that none of my equipment is particularly sophisticated, and there's much more sophistication, but that just goes to show you that you don't need to spend tremendous amounts of money on equipment to do interesting things. So we're just going to slide that in. And basically, you want to keep out as much as you're planning on using. You should try and keep basically that whatever's in the Dremel when you're drilling, that's going to end up being that little fin on the end of the torpedo pin. Okay, so I'm going to try and keep as absolutely little as I can. I'm going to try and get it to stick out absolutely as far as it can. Then I'm going to tighten it really, really, really tight. And now we're going to make our key pin, a little torpedo pin. Okay. Now, when you're making the torpedo pin, when you're making really any pin, first of all, you want to make sure that you have something to protect your airways and you're not inhaling teeny tiny little flecks of metal. That's never a good thing. So I have a little respirator over here. As far as the other tools I'm going to use, so I'm going to use a few different kinds of little metal files that are good for shaving down. A few different kinds I have here. I also have some smaller ones, if I really want to get into fine works. And then when I want to really get into the fine, fine serrations or something like that. So what I have here is a tiny little saw blade. It's very, very hard to see the saw blade on it. It's teeny tiny. And this is basically a jeweler's saw. Now you can get these on a proper saw. When I ordered it on AliExpress, this is what they sent me. So right now I'm using what I have, and I just manually use it like this. And it does the job. All right, so I'm going to get this respirator on, and then we are going to get to pin making. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make towards the back of the pin, right at the back of the pin, all the way at the base. We're going to want to make a deep, deep, deep serration, because that is going to be the thinnest it gets. As we go forward, we're going to want to thicken it up a little bit so it gets that torpedo shape. So to start, I'm going to use this very fine edge. You'll notice this is like a triangle, and it's got a very fine edge here. And that's going to give us our deep, deep serration type things. We're going to just turn this on. Okay, so as you can see, I already got a nice deep serration in there. Now what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to take the rounded edge, the one that's flat on one side and rounded on the other, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to use the rounded edge to make a slope towards the top of the pin. Now, as you can see, we're already getting a nice look, a nice looking pin shape. As you can see, nice looking torpedo pin shape. That's what we want. Now I'm just going to make the point a little sharper, so I'm going to use the flat side to just get a nice point on my pin. Okay, now I'm just going to use this. Now I'm just going to use the jeweler's saw to make a little serration towards the top, to make it an extra little place for the pin to get caught in the lock. And so here's the final product. We have a torpedo pin, very, very thin in this case, with that nice serration in the front and a nice serration right by the fin in the back. Give nice deep falsets. Getting hooked up on counter milling if you put it in there. Be an absolute pain to pick. Now, of course, you could have torpedo pins of different thicknesses and heights and sizes. And you can put your own little styles on it, on the inside, whatever you want. Serrations here or there, thinning it out more, making it more thin in the middle, thicker in the end. But either way, that is the basics of how to make a torpedo pin.